The Harlem Hellfighters, World War I. The 369th Infantry Regiment was constituted on June 2, 1913, in the New York Army National Guard as the 15th New York Infantry Regiment, and would become known as the first African American regiment to serve with the American Expeditionary Forces during World War I. The Regiment of African Americans and African Puerto Ricans was organized on June 29, 1916, at New York City and called into federal service in 1917. They were assigned to the French Army because of racial segregation in the U.S. Army and discrimination regarding white soldiers performing combat duty with black soldiers. Unlike the United States, the French did not racially segregate black troops or have such concerns. They also welcomed any Allied help they could get as they became short on troops.
The Hellfighters proved themselves to be indispensable to the French army to which they were assigned. The French called them men of bronze out of respect. The soldiers were assigned to labor service duties and relegated to unloading ships, digging trenches, and other non-combat work as they waited to see where the unit would be sent. The 369th, like other black units, were reassigned to 2 French divisions.
What's the time? 9, all in 9.
There was a special unit. They finally decided, they, meaning the American government, Wilson's administration, the War Department, and General Pershing, they finally came up with an idea of what to do with these black people. They work. So create a workers unit for them. These guys were put in the SOS, and their job was to load the ships, unload the ships, build the roads, build barracks, do all of the work was their job. And one of the things with the Americans coming into the war, one of the things that the French asked for were replacement soldiers. And so the idea that American soldiers were coming over was very exciting for the French. Pershing relented to loan some soldiers for a while because Pétain said, "What about these black guys? We can use them." And much to the disagreement of Washington, because Washington said they can use them as laborers, not as soldiers. And Pershing insisted that they could be soldiers because he was here. And so they were given French helmets, they were given French guns. There were 46 officers and 1,800 men. They were integrated into the 8th Army Corps of the 4th Army. The 369th, they were the 15th, they had different numbers. This was the 15th National Guard from New York. They became part of the 93rd Division. When they came to Europe, the government changed their name to the 369th. The French knew them as the 369e RIUS, Regiment Infantry, United States. They always called themselves the 15th, number 1.
What's the time? 9, all in line. All right, boys, now take it slow. Are you ready? Eddie, very good, Eddie. Over the top, let's go. Quiet, quiet, else to start a riot. Keep your proper distance all along. Hover, mother, and when you see me hover, obey my orders and you won't go wrong. There's a minute buffer coming, look out. Hear that roar. There's one more, stand fast, for there's a very light. Don't gasp or they'll find you all right. Don't start to...
New York City. Soldiers of the 369th New York National Guard parade up Fifth Avenue. A veteran of World War I remembers how he and 2,000 others volunteered to join this regiment. The first black American combat troops to fight on French soil. Williams, a captain in the California National Guard, worked closely with Haywood in the early days of recruiting. Recruiting for an outfit that didn't even have rifles.
Oh, well, there was training with broomsticks and wooden guns. in Central Park, Morningside Park, Manhattan, all over here. We're trained all around there, running around with broomsticks down the street. Soldiers marching with sticks.
Come in with those hand grenades. There's a machine gun, a holy spade. Alert, gas, put on your mask, adjust it correctly, and hurry up fast.
On February 17, 1919, the Harlem Hellfighters were given a Heroes Welcome Home parade on Fifth Avenue in New York City.
The actions of the 369th Regiment in the First World War would change the American public opinion on African American soldiers and pave the way for future black soldiers.